It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories we're watching this Wednesday, Hump Day, May 21. President Bongbong Marcos will never be dictated upon and will not compromise the law just to serve personal interests. That's according to him. That's Malacanang's answer to Attorney Sal Panelo, who suggested bringing former President Duterte back to the Philippines. Panelo said Marcos should do this to prove his sincerity in reconciling with the Dutertes. But Palace Press Officer Claire Caso says reconciliation should have no conditions.
Another OWA official has been sacked. This time, Deputy Administrator Emma Sinclair. Recall that OWA Administrator Arnel Ignacio was also replaced over a questionable 1.4 billion peso deal for an OFW dormitory near Naiya. Malacanang says the move underscores the president's zero tolerance for negligence and irregularities in public service. The World Health Organization has adopted a landmark global pandemic agreement aimed at preventing a repeat of the disjointed COVID-19 response. After 3 years of negotiations, 124 member states voted to approve the treaty, while 11 countries abstained. The agreement sets out a plan to ensure better coordination, faster responses, and more fair access to vaccines and medicines in future health cases.
And Senator Risa Ontiveros says she is open to being the opposition's standard bearer in the 2020 presidential elections. She says her group is now consolidating power post-midterms, but clarifies that no final decision has been made yet on who they will field. Ontiveros also expressed willingness to lead the minority bloc or form an independent one if Duterte allies claim the title of opposition. And joining us today, uy, si Tito Ronald, ayun no? Ngiti naman dyan. All the way from, I think that's Europe. It looks like Europe to me. Does not look like...
Certainly Europe, pero
does not look like
let's
Manila.
see. Looks like...
Vienna.
Vienna.
In Vienna.
Vienna sausage.
The capital of the sausage industry. Joking. Okay. No, seriously, matatas. Magandang umaga o hapon sa iyo, Tito Ronald. And join us, of course, from the Philippine Star in Parañaque naman. Okay, yan si Editor-in-Chief Ami Pamintuan.
Happy Wednesday.
Yan. Siya po nagsabing sausage, hindi ako.
Ronald, nakuha mo na yung cellphone mo, Ronald, sa Rome.
Hindi pa. Bukas pa, pagbalik ng Rome.
Pero at least na-retrieve daw. Sinoli ng naiwan mo sa taxi, right?
Yes. Medyo honest naman yung mga taxi driver yata ron.
Aba, buti nilang, sa mga sekreto mo, na-discover tuloy ng kung sino-sino dyan.
Wala. Boring cellphone yun, boring.
Malinis yung cellphone. Malinis.
Sinoli kay Father Albert Alejo. Sa kanya sinoli ng taxi driver.
Marami rin sekreto yun si Father.
Buti na lang. Otherwise...
Ang ganda naman ng suot ni Juan, ni Ami, parang gubat. Parang gubat,
Summer yan, summer.
Ang dami mga dahon, no?
Summer yan, summer. Ilang linggo na lang. Tapos na yung summer, Ilang linggo na lang. At,
ang bilis. Then we're in the rainy season. Teka lang, wait.
Yes.
Before we forget, I have to issue a small disclaimer about our interview yesterday. So kahapon, we interviewed sino nga? si DOJ Undersecretary Nicholas T. And in that interview, I asked him if they filed the papers to Interpol to request for a red notice against Harry Roque. And the second part of that question was, when do they expect it? Ang sabi niya, ayan na, within the week. So we took it to mean na they expect to get the response within the week. Ayun pala, they will only file, or at least they're trying to file within the week or by next week. And then from there, it depends on the Interpol how soon they could issue a red notice if at that. So yun lang yung correction. So hindi pala end of the week yung expectation na red notice, pero at least mag-file na sila either end of the week or next week.
Medyo mahabang proseso pa yon.
Oo. So
in the meantime, mukhang nag-aaway na naman. Balik na naman yung, hindi actually nag-aaway, kundi balik yung away no, ni Harry Roque and si Sal Panelo. Alam naman natin hindi magkasundo yung dalawang yan simula noon pa eh.
But I also think that's the reason why everybody's getting the two of them.
Oo nga eh.
Pinagsasabong silang dalawa.
Hindi daw alam ni Sal Panelo yung process dyan sa asylum application. Sabi ni Attorney Roque. Yan.
Pag naging presidente ka,
Pinauwi siya eh.
pag naging presidente ka, Ed, huwag ganyan dalawang spokesperson ang kukunin mo, ha?
Bakit ako? Baka ikaw. Ay, hindi, si Ronald pala, operator yan eh. Silent operator yan.
Pinauwi ni Sal Panelo si Harry Roque. Pangasar lang.
Oo. Oo
Hindi,
nga.
sabi kasi ni Harry, haharapin niya yung mga kaso niya, di ba? Di ba sabi niya dati, haharapin niya?
Eh baka gusto niya sa Zoom.
Well, according to him, hinaharap naman daw niya. He's
Just not in
facing them.
person.
Just not in person
Just not in
physically.
person.
Not in
Right? Because
person.
he has people filing the legal challenges here on his behalf. So, china-challenge naman nila. Alam ko gumagalaw talaga yung process. It's just that physically he's not here. Yeah.
And there's a Supreme Court
May
ruling rin about that.
phone siya, di ba?
Gusto ni Panelo, harapin niya dito, eh.
Yeah, but that'll never end, you know. Nag-aasaran lang yung dalawang yan eh.
Oo nga, nag-aasaran lang.
Pero nga, to that point, there's
Marami
also a
na
Supreme Court ruling on
ngayon,
There's also a Supreme Court ruling on you while you're evading arrest. You're still allowed to pursue legal recourse. That's also the argument being used by a lot of people when they go underground eh.
Ang pwede kasing gawin kay Harry is i-cancel yung kanyang passport, magsimula yung forfeiture proceedings sa kanyang mga assets. Yun yung pwedeng gawin. Pero dahil wala tayong extradition treaty sa Netherlands, kahit damputin siya ng Interpol, ay baka matatagalan bago siya ma-deport unless ma-reject yung kanyang asylum. Pag na-reject yung kanyang asylum, doon pwedeng i-deport siya. Pero until gumagana yung asylum process, hindi ganun kadali na siya ay i-deport.
Pero matagal pa yan, di ba, Ronald? Mahabang proseso yan eh.
Even the asylum process is a long process, di ba? Sometimes takes years. May backlog pa naman yung Netherlands in terms of processing refugees.
Pero syempre, depende rin. Halimbawa, kung yung kaso mo ay seryoso, baka madaliin.
Baka ma-prioritize ka.
I-resolve o i-reject. Halimbawa, human trafficking o crimes against humanity o anuman na medyo very keen yung Dutch government, pwedeng bilisan yan. Halimbawa, human trafficking kasi medyo sensitive dyan yung Dutch at saka European governments.
Yes. And one thing
Saka
that
pinag-aaralan daw nila, di ba, that we might request expulsion. Ngayon pinag-aaralan ng DOJ kung ano magiging impact nun dun sa request for asylum. Kung expulsion ang hihingin.
Oo, correct. Yun nga yung, that's one of the things that struck me dun sa interview with the USECT. Sabi niya, they will write to the Dutch government to request for the the expulsion of Harry Roque. Which I think should go a very long way. Imagine this is a government-to-government conversation now, right? So
In the same way
in
na,
all likelihood, they will respect it.
In the same way that the Immigration Bureau in the Philippines can just expel anybody it considers to be an undesirable alien,
Correct.
even without any
Yeah.
court orders.
Correct.
Kasi if you're an alien naman you're not bound. I mean, the host country is not bound to keep you
To
here.
protect you.
Yeah. Yun ang ginamit nila kay Alice Go eh. Nung nag-negotiate tayo with Indonesia.
Yeah, kahit wala ka extradition treaty.
Expulsion
they can just
yung
expel you.
ginamit. Oo, kaya ang bilis-bilis.
Oo. So it comes down to how believable Roque's case is in citing political persecution, right?
Or how
How convincing.
how convincing Mr. Llamas will be kasi he's now there in Europe. Baka mamaya kung sino kausap niyan dyan. Baka may naareglo ka dyan, ha?
Parang nakita ko si Harry, tatago sa puno.
Hindi mo ba nakita? Hindi mo ba nakita? Ronald, hindi ba kayo nagkita dyan sa Vienna? He's still free to move around.
Yes,
Hindi
yes.
ko siya matawagan dahil nawawala cellphone ko eh.
Ah,
Kaya
Ayun
nga
pala,
pala,
bibigyan ka ni Reg ng cellphone na bago.
bili mo yung cellphone ko.
iwanan sa taxi.
Yeah, pero
Bahala
how
si Red sa'yo.
convincing.
Bahala si Reg sa'yo.
Bayaran mo yun, Ronald. I'll sell you my phone.
Nag-aalok siya ng telepono kanina. Teka, may guest naman tayo. Ano natin yung guest natin? Is
May
our
guest
in?
na, oh.
Okay. Ano?
So-
Bring her in.
Private hospitals. We're talking about private hospitals now.
Yes.
Worried over 7 billion pesos in unpaid bills of patients, some of whom were sponsored by the losing candidates in the 2025 midterm elections. And to talk more about this, we have Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines, or PAPI President, Dr. Jose De Grano. Good afternoon, Doctor. Thanks for making time for us.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi,
Good
Doc.
afternoon,
Doctor.
sir. Long time no see. We haven't seen you since the pandemic.
Oo nga eh.
Hi, Doc.
Kasi hindi na COVID
Dati puro
hindi na COVID
pandemic.
pinag-uusapan natin, Doc.
Yes.
Ano ba yan? Fiscal transparency na. Sir, 7 billion, over 7 billion pesos in unpaid bills of patients just within 40% of the private hospitals in the country, which I think amounts to about 480 hospitals. Tama po ba?
Actually, there are around 1,200 private hospitals sa country, And we were able only to get around an estimate for around 40 plus hospitals, private hospitals. So actually, that is a very conservative estimate, the 7 billion that they owe us. Yes.
But how does it work, sir? Is it like you treat patients based on the promissory letters that are underwritten by these politicians? Is that how
Yes,
it works?
they are being given already, usually guarantee letters. These are the guarantee letters given. Sorry. I have to...
Yan sir, ang medical assistance for indigent.
Yes,
Financially
they're supposed to be
incapacitated
given. The patients are given the GLs. They are supposed to be guarantee letters. And this, let's say there is an amount stated there na nakalagay 3,000 or 5,000, and then they can use that for paying for medications, for hospital services, laboratories, even professional fees of the doctors. And that is for services that are not covered, perhaps by PhilHealth, etc. So to cover the other out-of-pockets of the patients. And these are supposed to be covered by funds under the MAIPIP, or Medical Assistance for Indigent
For indigent.
and
Financially.
financially incapacitated patients.
Yeah.
Kahit hindi ka indigent, if you cannot pay, halimbawa, hirap ka dahil you're a senior, you're a PWD, you don't have the means para bumayad talaga, then you can use the MAIF fund. Yeah. Yun po. And then some of our members are now, they are worrying na baka mamaya, natalo yung aming, yung mga party list. Yung mga and then paano masisingil to, but then upon asking some people there in the Department of Health, they say that there is supposed to be a fund already, and then kahit sino makaupo, then supposedly these are the GLs should be covered, they will pay us. The only thing that is the problem is they are supposed to pay us within 60 days upon the a receipt of the GLs. And now some of our hospitals are asking for even 2023 and 2024 bills. And so that's it. So that's why they are worried. Bakit biglang nagkaroon ng election, parang natigil, nahinto yung payment nitong ating mga MAIPIP funds po.
Doc, anong role ng Department of Health dyan sa mga utang na yan? Sila ba yung nangongolekta? Sila ba yung kumakausap? Meron ba silang counterpart dyan pag sakaling hindi nabayaran? Ano yung role nila para maunawaan ng ating tigapakinig?
Supposedly, itong MAIF Fund, may allocation yan. I think sa GAA, meron talaga allocation. Pinapasa nila yan sa Department of Health. At gagamitin nga ito ng Department of Health to pay back. Halimbawa, yung private hospitals kasi hindi kaya ng mga government facilities sa private hospitals pumupunta, binibigyan nila ng parang itong mga ating mga party list representatives, congressmen, etc. ay may authorization sila magbigay ng GLs or guarantee letters. And then the guarantee letters babalik nyo sa DOH, and then DOH supposedly babalik sa amin, babayaran kami within 60 days. Meron kami pinipirmahan, the private hospitals, meron po kami pinipirmahan dyan na parang memorandum of understanding or agreement, MOA, with the regional offices of the DOH, like the CHDs or Centers for Health Development ang tawag nila ngayon. These are regional offices. At during dun sa MOA na yan, it states there na mag-i-issue nga ng GL and then they have to pay us within 60 days. Ayun.
So Doc, yung DOH
Kailan-
ang mataas ang responsibility dyan. DOH ang pinakamalaki ang responsibility.
Yes. Actually, I have
Disbursing.
I have messaged already our good Secretary of Health, and sabi niya, okay, we'll look into that. Sabi niya, he has instructed the USEC in charge of it to look into that, bakit ganon, And then hopefully, after this kasi parang umalis si secretary nasa Geneva, I think, so we'll wait kung anong mangyayari po dun sa namin, hopefully naman mababayaran kami. Opo.
Doktor, may idea ba kayo kung ilang mga politiko yung mga baka hindi makapagbayad?
Hindi naman talaga po personal sa kanila yan, kasi
Yes.
ito fund ng MAIF. Pero meron pa pong iba na different naman ito, personal nila na GLs.
Yeah.
Ito kasing mga ganun governor, mayor, congressmen, senators, meron silang fund. This, iba pa po yan sa MAIF. Yun ang nakakatakot po. Mahirap yun, singilin. Kasi baka wala.
Kailan pa yung Kailan pa yung MAIF?
Actually, sabi
Kailan pa
natin,
nag-umpisa yung MAIF?
2014 pa daw yan. But then, nakita ko kasing circular or galing kay I think Dr. Duque pa yon 2020. And then, MAIF pa
2020.
before. Yes, MAIF. Naging
Yes.
MAIF to. Naging MAIF.
Yes. Oo, kasi binanggit ko lang, Doktor, kasi sinabi ni Toby Chanko na isa daw yan sa mga ginamit ng House leadership, di naman niya pinangalanan, at tinakot daw yung ibang mga congressmen na pag hindi pumirma sa impeachment, hindi daw ipaparelease sa DOH yung MAIF. At actually, nangyari nga daw na hindi nga na-release, may mga lumapit daw kay Toby Chanko na mga congressmen nagrereklamo na hindi nga daw ni-release on orders of the House leadership, kaya dinala pa daw niya sa atensyon ni President Marcos. Nag-utos pa daw si President Marcos sa DOH na i-release niya. Pero medyo kulang pa rin pala yung na-release.
Baka po, alam mo, for 2025, I think ang allocation nila is around 26 billion. Dinagdagan nila ng another 14 billion plus. So mga around 41 billion na ngayon yung funding na yan. Hopefully, it can cover yung mga pagkukulang nila for the past years.
Doc, ano pong pinagkaiba ng MAIF sa pork barrel? Kasi it sounds like a soft pork barrel to me.
Parang the ghost of a pork barrel.
And then it's 2014 na na-establish ang MAIF, which is a year after the pork barrel was ruled illegal by unconstitutional by the Supreme Court.
Kaya nga It has the...
Hindi natin alam po kung ano yon, kung paano nila... Actually, ang sinasabi nga po na iba, baka mamaya yung mga kaya nila dinifund ang PhilHealth ay yung funding supposedly didirekta na nila.
Hindi nila dyan.
Sa MAIF.
Didirekta na nila, no? Hindi na padadaanin sa PhilHealth.
So it will sound more politically more politically vulnerable kasi mas hawak ng congressman sa party list.
Yeah.
election period.
Kayo talaga to, oh. Kayo talaga, oh.
Doc,
Yun kasi sinasabi nila. Kasi para kasing itong maipit, parang nakita nila na for the past several months, humina yung availment ng yung PhilHealth po, ang funding nila sa PhilHealth halos nawala. Then tumaas naman itong funding sa MAIFIP. Ganun,
Oh, by how much, sir? By how
We
much, Doc?
don't know.
ito na yung 41 billion, I think that he's saying. 41
Yeah.
billion for this year, correct?
For this year po, 41.
Pero gano'n kalaki po tinaas kung 41 this year? That's an increase of how much from last year, the year before?
14 billion from last year, I think.
Dinagdagan daw ng 14 billion.
Okay.
Supposedly.
Okay.
Itong
Sa biro yung subsidy sa PhilHealth, dinagdagan niyang tapos nagkaroon ng, meron pa yung, that's apart from the AICS, yung AICS, dahil nandun naman yung
Opo.
Malasakit Center. Iba pa rin yun.
DSWD po yan. DSWD po yan.
Iba pa rin
Yun
siya.
yung agency na naglalabas niyan. It's not DOH.
Iba pa yun
Doc,
sa AICS.
meron bang assessment yung association nyo tungkol dito sa facility na ito? Ano yung mga dapat baguhin? Ano yung dapat i-strengthen? Meron ba kayong ganyang klaseng assessment para hindi lang kayo parang binabagsakan o inuutangan, kung hindi kayo ay active participant sa management nitong ganitong klaseng facility?
Kasi po, nung unang ilabas yan, natutuwa yung mga hospitals, mas mabilis eh. Hindi katulad ng PhilHealth, ang dami yung isasabit, ang tagal ng processing, etc. Ganon. Di ba? Meron pang bigla sasabihin siya, denied yung claims mo, return to hospital, ang daming. Pero nung dumating po itong MAIF, mabilis, Supposedly, within 60 days, babayaran agad kami. Kasi these are guarantee letters. Submit nyo lang yung guarantee letter together with the documents na kailangan nila. Babayaran kayo within 60 days. But then, recently nga po, yun ang naging problem. Biglang, teka, bakit na-delay yung payment? Hanggang to the point na medyo nag-worry na ngayon ng mga hospitals. Bakit medyo tumataas na ata ang syempre, for smaller hospitals, nahihirapan sila kasi mawalan kayo ng, halimbawa, nag-spend kayo ng 1 to 2 million. Pangsweldo na po yun sa mga empleyado. Nahihirapan sila sa kanilang operational expenses. Opo.
Nasaan yung problema, Doc? Dun sa mga guarantee letter concept itself o sa DOH itself o pareho?
Palagay ko,
Nasaan yung bara?
palagay ko
Para
ang bara doon
natin.
yung pag-release po. Pag-release. Bakit napepending yung release? Supposedly nasa kanila na yung funds. Kasi allocated.
Ngayon lang ba nangyari yan? Doctor, ngayon lang kayo naka-experience ng delay dyan sa MAIP.
Ito pong last year po, from 2024, medyo humina o medyo sabi na nati-delay. Bakit medyo parang hindi mabilis ngayon ang pagbabayad? And then umabot na nga po sa first quarter of 2025 before the elections. Opo.
So nangyari yan during the leadership of Secretary Herbosa. Baka kinakailangan niyang gawing mas effective. Baka kung magkaroon ng cabinet revamp, baka mauna siya.
Okay, well, okay.
Kasi sa totoo lang, nung sabihan namin si Secretary, ang bilis na response niya. Okay, I'll instruct the USEC to look into this. And that was a few days ago lang. And then hopefully, magkakaroon ng sagot yung within this week, yung USEC. Opo.
Yeah. Doc, the ones that are okay, so that's my FIP. Pero yung the ones that are underwritten personally by the politicians, ano yung backlog doon? How much yung utang ngayon? And sino-sino who are the biggest names there?
Actually, wala po kaming data on that. Kasi ang nagreklamo po lang is yung mga may maipit. Pero meron kaming personal na in some of our hospitals na kilala ko, nung natalo yung lembawa, yung mayor, meron siyang kanyang foundation na pinapatakbo during his term. Biglang nung matalo siya, ang hirap maningil, na pending yung payment. Until mabuti kung yung sumunod sa kanya ay nagbayad. But then it will take years bago niya ma-fully yun, kasi sabihin niya, hindi ko naman hindi ko pagkakautang ito.
Oo.
Pagkakautang yan ng previous administration.
Oo.
So yun po ang palagay ko, mas worrisome yun.
Oo
Mas,
nga. I was gonna say, mas delikado yun because with my FIP, okay, matagal yung pagbayad, pero at least there's a fixed program for it. Theoretically, they've set aside the money. Pero the ones that are being underwritten personally by the politicians in exchange, presumably, for support, for votes, yun yung medyo delikado. And I wanted to find out if we have a ballpark figure of how much that is.
Sorry, wala po kaming gano'n. But
Okay.
we'll try to ask.
Okay. Sige,
Pero
sir.
di ba, Doc, ang guarantee letters kasi ay guaranteed ng gobyerno.
Supposedly
Guaranteed
po.
yan ng Department of Hindi yan guaranteed ng mga politicians.
Yes.
Parang facility yan na
Oo.
ginagamit nila. Pero bottom line, yan ay ang guarantor niyan ay yung gobyerno, specifically yung Department of
Department
Health.
of Health, yes.
Oo.
Okay. And then the MOA is between us, the private hospitals, and the CHD or the Center for Health Development on that region. Let's say on our part, it's Region 4 and our hospitals.
Kahit ginagamit yan ng mga politiko, ang pinanggagalingan yan ay yung
Fund pa rin
gobyerno.
ng government.
Specifically, Department
Still the
of Health.
budget. Oo.
Parang pork barrel nga.
Kaya may problema
So,
talaga kapag pag pinapasukan ng politiko eh.
So, tinanggal
Mahirap
yung
talaga yung
PhilHealth
kapag ano
subsidy.
Oh.
So now we are tracking where
Kaya
it was
imbis na
moved.
na depoliticize sana under PhilHealth, pag pinasukan ng endorsement ng politiko, lahat nagkakaproblema eh.
Halimbawa, alam ko si
Speaking-
Senator Ping Lacson ay walang guarantee letters.
Wala siyang
Ibig sabihin, para sa kanya kasi, parang pork barrel yan. At dahil laban siya sa pork barrel, kahit siya, hindi niya ginagamit yan. So may mga ganung mga
Turo mo sa
politiko na hindi
PhilHealth.
ginagamit yan.
Pero it's the use of guarantee letters are rampant. If you go online, may mga Facebook groups no na yung mga humihingi ng tulong for medical expenses. Kilalang-kilala na yung mga names that you can go to ask for these guarantee letters, right? On the Senate level.
And they will take credit for it, ha?
Oo.
The politicians will take credit for it. Kaya akala ng mga tao, personal na tulong yun eh.
Oo. Speaking of PhilHealth, sir,
Yeah, yan ang
I wonder, how much is may utang pa ba ang PhilHealth sa PAPI, sa Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines, or sa member hospitals?
Marami pa po actually, pero these are yung mga denied claims at saka return to hospitals na during the COVID period. Pero for the past several months, mabilis na yung turnover, mabilis na ang payment nila ng mga current accounts po. Yung current accounts. Okay na
Pero,
po.
Dok, ang tagal na ng COVID period eh. Ibig sabihin na,
Oo
so what
nga eh.
happens
Yes.
to those denied claims?
Yes, actually meron silang program ngayon na yung mga denied claims na filed beyond 60 days, babayaran daw nila yan from 2018 to 2024. And that's worth around 8 billion.
Oh.
And we'll just,
That's denied claims?
there is a reconciliation of the mga claims namin. And then they are supposed to pay the 8 billion after 6 months. Opo.
But Doc, that's a
Okay,
huge
about
amount
these
of money.
COVID claims, Doc, may mga utang pa during
Pero
the COVID. Ngayon, may sinasabi na pabalik daw uli ang COVID. Totoo ba yun? No? Hindi pa nababayaran yung dating mga utang sa COVID. Ngayon, nagsisimula na uling dumami. Dagdag na utang na naman yan. Pero totoo ba yun, Doc, na nagsisimula na naman dumami ang COVID?
Actually, meron pong, hindi naman nawala eh. Hindi po nawala yan. Mga sporadic lang cases, 1 or 2 or 3 cases in a month, even in a month. Kasi wala kasi tayong routine, routine testing. So kahit sabihin nyo na eto ang symptoms ko para akong may COVID, ganyan, hindi natin natetest. So we cannot say na, okay, konti ang cases o walang cases or maraming cases. Kasi hindi talaga routine.
Doktor, nabanggit niyo na rin lang COVID. May problema pa rin ba kayo sa staffing? Kasi at the height of COVID, napalaking problema ng mga hospitals, nawawala yung mga nurses, kulang ng health professionals. Hanggang ngayon ba nagpe-persist yung problemang yan?
For the past siguro month po or more than a month, medyo marami nang tayong pumapasok na bagong nurses. Ano? Maraming pumasa. So, hindi na masyadong problem yan. Ano?
Okay, that's good to
Ang
hear.
problem po
Okay.
natin ay yung pagpasweldo sa mga nurses.
Ah,
Kukumpit tayo eh. Kukumpit tayo sa ibang bansa. Opo.
But very quickly, Doc, why can't the private hospitals, at least yung private, just increase the wages?
Actually, kaya po yan ng mga level 2, level 3. We can compete and we can compare or with the government. No, they are giving at least 35,000 to the nurses. Pero sa small hospitals, hindi po kaya talaga yan. Hindi kaya kasi services na binibigay nila ay hindi nila kaya. Otherwise, biglang tataas po lahat ng
Oo.
hospitalization cost
Fair
ng
enough.
ating pasyente. Opo.
Fair enough. Okay, well, we will leave that there. Thank you so much for your time and your insights today. Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines President, Dr. Jose De Grano. Salamat po, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
Doc.
very much.
Salamat, Doc.
thank you, Doctor.
You are watching Storycon and One News. We just need to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news and the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
And I'm Regina Lay, still with us, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star, and Ronald Llamas, a resident political pundit.
Our second guest for today is a lawyer and activist and former Dean, Tony Lavinia. Sir, magandang hapon and we hope you're doing well.
Magandang hapon.
Hi,
Okay naman.
Dean.
Good afternoon, Dean.
Magandang hapon din.
Magandang hapon sa lahat.
Okay. You want to start or no?
Go ahead.
Well, Dean, some questions that people have been asking, of course, among other things, how the former president can take his oath of office all the way in the ICC in The Hague, and also whether a person or an official elected, though he may be, can take his position if he cannot prove he can govern physically. Kasi nga, di ba, if you're there, you don't have internet, can you be
He's
a
given
mayor?
access to a computer daw.
Intranet.
Intranet? Ah, walang
That's internet. He's not
Okay.
able to go on Facebook.
Ah, okay.
Ano lang, limited to communicating to his lawyers.
Okay.
Lang yung pwedeng gawin sa kanyang computer na ibibigay sa kanya.
Yun din. So quite
Yung
ano.
oath-taking, theoretically, yung oath-taking may solusyon. Kasi may Philippine Embassy naman, pwede siya dalhin doon. He can take his oath before any authorized official, so pwedeng ambassador. VP Sara herself is an authorized official, can swear people in. A barangay captain from Davao, they can fly him in. Senator Padilla, di ba? So, pero ang kailangan mangyari doon, dalawa. Pumayag ang Philippine government, di ba? Which parang absurd kung pumayag sila kasi then ang dami-dami ng baka si Teves, kung nanalo si Teves, di ba? Sa East Timor, he will also ask the same favor, di ba? Siyempre, it's a very bad precedent that you allow someone to take an oath of office in similar circumstances like this, di ba? And pumayag yung ICC. Again, importante yun kasi may security issues. And of course, the whole notion of the ICC, di ba? Charges, di ba? Na napaka-serious. And then you will allow anyone who won an election to actually take oath, leave the detention facility. Kailangan kasi for oath-taking, kailangan Filipino soil. Di ba? So kailangan sa embassy. Hindi pwedeng sa ICC facility itself. Hindi pwedeng sa anywhere in the Netherlands. No, kailangan dun mismo sa embassy gagawin yung para it's Philippine soil.
So Dean, wala pang ganyang klaseng nangyari whatsoever before. Wala pang ganyang incident.
President.
Similar like this. I can almost bet na may mga officials noon na other offices, lalo na executive branch, na ginagawa nila yung kanilang oath of office sa embassy or sa consulate, di ba? Lalo na if you're the DFA and you're not in the country and di ba, you assign someone, you're given a new assignment and you have to take an oath of office, pwede naman talaga gawin yon. So hindi yan siya unique, but yung elected official, that's very unique na first time yun. So maano yung precedent na yun?
Dean, before you leave that part, Dean, if I may ask lang, requirement ko talaga na it has to be on Philippine soil. I asked that kasi in 2020 or 2021, yung Cooperative Development Authority or CDA naglabas ng memo allowing for remote swearing in because of the pandemic. Of course, these are not elective officials, but it's a government bureau, it's a government office, and they allowed for that in their particular case. I'm wondering lang if
that
it's
can be a
hard-
precedent.
if it's a hard and fast rule.
Yeah, but yung ang context ng remote na yun is everyone was in the Philippines, ha? Di ba, hindi mo naman sinasabi na sa Pilipinas ka hindi. I mean, marami namang even yung yung lawyers that year sa 2021, yung pumasa ng
The bar.
19 the bar. They were allowed to do that. But yun, I mean, in the first place, unique. At pangalawa, di ba, yung context ng kanong policies na nasa Pilipinas ka. wala ka sa abroad, di ba? But as I said, may solusyon yan, pero sa rin kong mahirap siya i-implement. Yung pangalawang mas mahirap kasi assumption into office requires physical presence, di ba? Assumption to office. Assumption to office kasi ibig sabihin ikaw na pipirma ng mga dokumento, ng mga ordinansya, di ba? Ng mga appointments. Hindi mo pwedeng gawin yan outside of the office. Kahit ngayon, kahit outside Manila, let's say Davao, pupunta ka sa Manila, you cannot sign a document as mayor of Davao in Manila. Kailangan may OIC ka sa Davao. Kailangan ka may acting official sa Davao, di ba? Kaya every time, di ba, any secretary, any mayor leaves the country, leaves the city or the office, di ba? Nagpapa-appoint siya ng OIC at lahat. Ang president, siguro ang exemption lang na yan, only because the president's directives are almost always signed by the executive secretary. Di ba?
Yeah.
By the office president, ganyan, by executive secretary. So that's why the president, when he's traveling abroad, wala siyang ina-appoint na OIC, di ba? Or ano, kasi meron namang nagpipirma on his behalf in the Philippines.
And
So,
Di,
Dean, anong mangyayari
magkakatagalan yan di ba? Paano magiging status niyan? Kasi halimbawa, expected naman natin na magiging officer in charge yung vice mayor na anak ni President Duterte. Pero kung sobrang tagal na, pwede bang matagalang OIC? Can he be deemed incapacitated and kailangan palitan?
Una, sa oath of office, kailangan in 6 months from election,
Yes.
from proclamation. Di ba? Yun yung muna. Pero nakalagay naman doon, unless there are circumstances beyond your control.
Yeah.
So medyo, di ba, may leeway doon.
Oo.
It's up to the DILG. Now, ang question ngayon is, gaano katagal pwede ang isang interim acting
OIC.
official, di ba? Ang DILG will determine that and ang kanyang isa lang yung kanyang batayan diyan, the good of the service, what's good for the public, di ba? So the moment yung hindi na nagwo-work yung OIC, yung acting mayor, may mga bagay talaga kasi na hindi pwedeng acting mayor o OIC, di ba, na magbibigay. Usually like appointments na long term, hindi pwede yun, di ba? Mga short-term appointments, pwede yun na ganyan. Signing of big ordinances, budget, di ba? Then the DILG can determine, hindi ka na pwede. And therefore, you're deemed to have vacated your, and the vice mayor will now be the mayor.
So DILG din ang magde-determine kung succession lang.
Oo.
Kung magsasucceed na yung vice mayor at hindi na siya
Yeah.
OIC lang.
Based on whether or not public service is affected.
Pero din that's pretty
Discretion
subjective,
ng
di ba?
DILG o kailangan may magpetisyon? Does a petition have to be filed?
No. Ito proprio pwedeng gawin ng DILG.
Motu proprio. Okay.
Pero nga
Kasi
din,
the DILG supervises local governments.
Opo.
Kung wala nang kung hindi na silbihan yung mga tao, then they can come in.
Pero din, that sound pretty subjective yung for the good of the service. What
Yeah.
about in the case, for example, the Dutertes, very, very, very popular in Davao City. You saw the results of the elections in 2025, even though the former president is not even here and was not able to campaign. So,
By
you might
landslide.
have that argument from that end na parang, ito gusto namin how would that work?
Yan for the good of the service means na hindi yan subjective. That's about whether or not yung acting mayor is
And
signature
function.
enough. Di ba? Are there functions na hindi niya nagagawa dahil hindi siya ang mayor? Pag na-determine na yan ganyan, di ba? Na certain things, di ba? Hindi ako masyado sure kung which of those things are going to be the di ba? May limits kasi yung acting mayor ng pwedeng gawin. I think appointments, temporary lang yung appointments niya. All the appointments will have to be temporary. Baka may effect na yan sa service kasi walang permanent department heads, di ba? So kailangan i-assess ng DILG whether public service is being affected.
Yeah.
Hindi yan dependent sa mga tao what the people want.
And then if we understood it correctly, Dean, so let's say si Baste Duterte moves up, becomes the mayor, interim mayor, yung vice mayoral seat goes to the councilor who won the highest number of votes naman. Is that correct? Which in this case is actually
no. Only walang vice mayor habang acting mayor siya and OIC mayor siya. Di ba? But when he becomes mayor, yes. Then the number one councilor becomes the vice mayor.
which in this case is actually
acting ka lang, wala kang number two,
okay.
walang umaakyat.
oo.
Acting ka lang eh.
Only when you've been made official
When you
mayor.
made now the mayor, then which is actually a grandson, di ba? From
Oo.
what I
I was just gonna point that out. Actually, the councilor who won the highest number of votes is also a Duterte, yung grandson ni Digong, who is Rigo Duterte. So, it's all in the family.
Sagutin din.
Ano magagawa
So
natin,
short.
di ba? Kami kong friends sa Davao. Many of them are very intelligent. They support Duterte. I don't lose sleep over that anymore, and I don't fight them, di ba?
Oo.
Kasi they're very good people and very bright people. So, they just have a different view of things than I have, than many of us have. Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Natawa. Ano?
so that's pretty clear, no? So the oath has to be taken 6 months from the proclamation. Na-proclaim na siya, so that's the first step. That's the first step. We're waiting now for this oath taking.
But Dean, walang designated survivor.
Wala naman designated survivor dito. Actually, sa local government, assumption of office as it goes on.
There is no scenario wherein their opponent, si Carlo Nograles, could take over.
Wala.
No.
Kasi
Wala.
hindi naman siya disqualification eh. In fact, the disqualification depende rin sa not necessarily will the loser be qualified. Depende kasi kung whether stray vote siya considered or hindi siya considered as candidate at all.
So din basically,
Wala naman, no question naman Duterte won these elections.
so din basically the DILG has the authority to step in.
Replace.
Yeah. So dito na naman makikita natin, di ba? I think on this, on impeachment, on many things, dito natin makikita whether President Marcos has the leadership qualities, di ba, to make hard decisions for what is at stake, di ba?
What do you think he should do, Dean, in this case? May konting leverage pero what do you think he should do?
Well, I think if after 6 months hindi maka-out of office, talang automatic na yon. Let the law operate. If maka-out of office for some reason, dapat the government should not cooperate, should not allow the oath taking in an embassy. That is not, di ba, that's a very bad precedent. And mapapahiya lang tayo, papayagan natin, hindi papayagan ng ICC, di ba? So ganun dapat ka-tough si President Marcos. Kasi kung hindi siya ganyan, di ba, then mangyayari yung nangyari sa election, di ba? And also it doesn't help the people, it doesn't help, di ba, the country when you waffle on these things.
Nakikipag-reconcile siya din eh. Naniniwala ba kayo dun sa offer of reconciliation?
I don't know. Sabi niya, lahat naman daw siya nire-reconcile. Sana mag-peace settlement siya with the NDF. Yun ang totoong reconciliation sa akin. Hanggang ngayon, nasa exploratory talks pa rin sila. More than a year na, di ba? Yun ang time na reconciliation. This one, between the families, parang imposible na yan. Parang fight to the death yan, di ba? Fight to the finish na yan. So, that's why he has to show the leadership also kasi malaki ang stake nila din.
And then very quickly, Dean, before we let you go, What are your views on the impeachment after the midterms? Is it looking shaky for the administration at this point, or you don't see it that way?
Well, challenging. But again, if the president shows leadership, diba? And the House presents a really good case, then no. I mean, at the beginning of the Corona impeachment, Pinoy didn't seem to have the numbers also. Diba? I couldn't imagine, honestly, Enrile, Revilla, Estrada, Jinggoy, voting for impeachment, diba? Voting for conviction. But they found a way to convince them, maybe to DAP, maybe to other means, but na-convince naman nila yung enough na, di ba, na naiwan na lang, di ba, naiwan na lang si I think Bongbong and
William.
and Arroyo
Joker.
and
Miriam.
Only three were left, di ba? But at the beginning, hindi yun But President Aquino showed a lot of leadership. I mean, may criticism din about that, pero importante yun if you want something done to show leadership.
Tama naman. Well, here's hoping the president takes that advice. We're gonna have to leave that there for now. Thank you so much for your time and insights today, lawyer and activist and constitutionalist Dean Tony Lavinia. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Please be well.
Ingat po.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sarap ng tawa niya kanina. Anyway.
I was trying not to laugh. But okay, that's all the time we have for the day. Thank you so much for joining Storycon. Ami Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, and Ronald Llamas, nasa Vienna ngayon.
Naway ma-reconcile kayo ng telepono mo.
Oh, naks. Reconcile.
Reconciliation.
That is the word for the
Reconciliation.
week. Ma-reconcile ka with your lost phone. Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for
Feasible
Storycon.
yun.
I'm Regina Lake.
I'm Ed Lingao. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.